This is Valley News Live at 10.
Good evening, everyone. We begin with breaking news. A man was seriously injured tonight after being hit by a car in Fargo. Several of you alerted us to the traffic disruptions caused by the accident. Fargo police tell us it happened around 6:45 this evening near the intersection of 25th Street South and 13th Avenue. Streets in the area were blocked off for 2 hours. Police say a man was driving a sedan when he hit a pedestrian who was taken to the ER with serious injuries. They say the driver is cooperative and the investigation is ongoing.
My heart breaks. I just wish there was something I could do.
Emotions are running high as one Fargo woman watches members of her family battle the devastation left behind by deadly tornadoes that tracked for more than 200 miles and hit 6 states. Valley News Team's Nishay Taylor shares how this family is now forever changed and how people are stepping up to help.
I just worry about them all.
Mary Gilbertson of Fargo says her heart is broken.
They've lost their homes and the businesses that they work at, and it's just devastating. It's to know that they don't have a home.
She says several family members were heavily impacted by the destruction caused by the recent tornadoes that whipped through multiple states, including Tennessee and Kentucky.
My stepsister, her mom, and her brother were found in a tree. They're in the hospital. He's got a broken back, and she's got a lot of bruises and bumps.
Gilbertson says those family members live in the small towns of Sandburg and Dresden, Tennessee, which were both rocked with the catastrophe.
And they need blankets and propane heaters and food and water.
But she now worries for the young children that may be missing out on the holidays.
And I think about all these little kids that don't have Christmas now. How do you tell your children you're not having Christmas?
She says small towns like these often get forgotten about in these kinds of disasters. And now she wants everyone to remember the spirit of giving.
Every life is precious, and everybody needs help sometimes.
But local help has already made its way to some parts of the impacted areas along the path of those tornadoes.
And the Red Cross will be there to help the folks that really have lost everything. And what we're going to be doing is sheltering. We're going to be feeding them.
More than 15 volunteers from Red Cross chapters in the tri-state, including North Dakota, South Dakota, and Minnesota, have been deployed.
So many of these volunteers entered in knowing that they might be giving up Christmas.
And the organization has such gratitude for the many people who have volunteered to help.
We are extremely grateful for all of our volunteers that have stepped up and so selflessly.
In Fargo, Nishay Taylor, Valley News Live.
Our parent company Gray Television is teaming with the Salvation Army to provide relief for those affected by the deadly tornado outbreak. You can donate directly to the Salvation Army's disaster relief efforts by texting HL Tornado to 51555. You can also donate online by going to valleynewslive.com and clicking on this story. New for you tonight at 10. After meeting today, the Moorhead School Board says they're replacing in-school close contact quarantines for students with a robust testing protocol and making universal indoor masking optional. High school students will begin transitioning on January 3rd, middle schoolers on the 17th, and elementary students on January 31st. More on the updated quarantine protocols can be found on our website. Just click on this story. Hutch joins us now with a first look at your forecast. Hutch?
Stacy, thanks so much. We're pouring over new information that is just now filtering in on the midweek winter weather system. But for now, tonight, we have a couple of snow showers along the international border there near Pembina, and that's really not too bad. I'm not seeing a lot of snowflakes falling on the area sky cams, although there are some wet roads being reported by the Minnesota DOT. Here's the storm system we're watching. It's making landfall in the southwestern United States. It's got to make its way over the Rockies before it gets to us, but it will impact us late Wednesday and into Thursday. That time frame looks to be spot on. But let me show you one of the most recent models coming in, having it track that low right into Minnesota. Now, there could be some thunder snow, and in fact, we could have some strong to severe storms. There will be spin in the atmosphere, so we could see a few low top supercells in the early parts of the late evening. So we're talking about between, say, 7 and 11 o'clock at night. So we'll keep our eyes on that. Mixed precipitation in the middle and then turning to snow. Areas of locally heavy snow. Notice that this is a shift over what we showed you a little bit earlier in the evening, with wind and snow lasting into the overnight and Thursday morning. Now that does mean your Thursday will have the biggest impacts with the wind and the snow on the ground, and it does look like the heaviest snow potential will be from the Red River Valley to the east into parts of central Minnesota. Where you see the dark blues there, a few spots could see over 6 inches of snow. I'll have more hour-by-hour details because there are a couple more models that I'm going to go look at right now. I'm pretty anxious to see what they have to say, too.
All right, thanks so much, Hutch.
Yeah, absolutely.
A Moorhead woman is urging teens in the valley to think twice before making a school violence threat, warning the consequences can negatively impact your life forever, as she's still dealing with her fallout 18 years later. Anna Blankenship says she was badly bullied and threatened to stab someone back in 2003, which got her expelled and charged with felony terrorizing, which is the same charge all 3 students from last week's threats in West Fargo are also facing.
There's other ways to ask for the attention that you need. You could go to the counselor at your school. You could say, like, I'm feeling this way, but don't make it into a threat, especially on social media.
Blankenship says it all comes down to mental health. She asks parents and teachers to take a closer look for any warning signs. A Sabin man is facing 30 years in prison after investigators say he sexually abused a young girl for nearly 5 years. The victim, who was either 16 or 17 at the time, told officers the abuse occurred multiple times a week and continued until she moved away in 2017. The bail for 59-year-old Joseph Johnson has been set at $10,000 cash with conditions. A former Fargo bar is one step away from reopening under a new name. Fargo's Liquor Control Board today unanimously approved a change in ownership and management for what used to be the Africa International Restaurant and Nightclub. The business will now be known as the Summit Restaurant and Nightclub. The change comes after a deadly shooting and several other calls for service prompted the Liquor Board to suspend the license. Today's action will now need to be approved by the full City Commission. A whistleblower tells us criminals are taking advantage of a flaw in the system designed to help landlords and tenants, but making some an easy target. The crooks are using what's called a J key, where each garage has a numbered key designed to open the garage if the power goes out or the remote is lost. Burglars are collecting these keys and using them to break in and steal whatever they can find.
Don't keep anything that's of value in your garage, and make sure you keep your car locked in your garage.
Police say they've been seeing an increase in burglaries in the metro because people aren't locking their car doors or they're leaving their garages open. Testimony continued today, marking the second week in the Kim Potter trial in Minneapolis. Potter is charged with manslaughter in the shooting death of 20-year-old Dante Wright. The assistant medical examiner for the Hennepin County Medical Examiner's Office was the first witness to testify today. He told jurors that Wright's gunshot wound was not survivable.
The entrance point was somewhere near the base of the arrow, and the bullet was recovered somewhere near the tip of the arrow. So you can see, even though that the wound direction was shallow through the chest, as we saw in the previous image, it did cross areas of the left lung, the heart.
A forensic scientist also testified today, explaining some graphic photos of evidence from the scene, including Wright's car and Potter's firearm. That trial continues in the morning. Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin appears to be on the verge of pleading guilty to violating George Floyd's civil rights. The federal docket entry shows a hearing has been scheduled for Wednesday for Chauvin to change his current not guilty plea in the case. He's already been convicted of murder and manslaughter charges for pinning his knee against Floyd's neck. Chauvin and 3 other former officers were set to go to trial in late January on those federal charges. The North Dakota Attorney General sent out a warning about recent gift card scams that have resulted in the loss of tens of thousands of dollars. Attorney General Wayne Stenhjem says just in the last 2 weeks he's received 9 reports from victims of gift card scams totaling losses of $45,000. He's reminding everyone at the holiday season especially, remember, gift cards should not be used to settle an account payment or for a phony sweepstakes. Through loss and heartache, a family in Jamestown is using their experience to give back. Gifts from Gretchen was formed in honor of Amber Martin's daughter, Gretchen, who passed away from sudden infant death syndrome. Now, Amber, her husband, and their other children do acts of kindness in Gretchen's memory. This month, they're introducing the Child Loss Memorial Tree at 2 locations in Jamestown. They say bulbs and decorating supplies will be provided. Just decorate an ornament and hang it on the tree. Amber says giving back has been vital in her grieving process and ensuring her daughter's memory lives on.
And I think the best part about it is you don't feel so alone, that you meet people that are in this journey with you, whether it's been 10 years for them or 2 weeks. It's nice to know that you have that support and you have that available and those around you that know exactly what you're going through. So if you need somebody to talk to, you can find them and you can reach out to them.
The trees will be set up at Inspired Healthcare in Club 1883 in Jamestown throughout the holidays. Still ahead tonight, 2 doses of the COVID vaccine doesn't seem to be good enough anymore. We'll tell you who's now also requiring the booster.
But next on this Monday night, we have a storm system just now making a landfall in the southwestern United States. You can see a lot of moisture, even snow in the elevated train. That's heading our way. First alert weather days for Wednesday and Thursday continue. We will have impacts. I'll have the latest on those next.